everyone. I'm Dr. Lisa, Dr. Lisa Palmer, Dr. Mama Bear, coming to you live from Central Florida. Happy New Year! So excited to see you guys. I'm in my winter sweater. Even though it's 80 degrees outside, it's kind of chilly with the air. We have the air on, and Jason had it low, and I am cold. But also I needed to eat. So I ate in between. I just was live in the Quantum Nutrition Academy with Alyssa. Hi, Alyssa. And so I had to get some food in me. And so around this time of year, I have so many patients asking me, what the heck to eat? Should I eat keto? Which is higher fat? Should I eat paleo, which is no grains? Should I eat vegan? Should I go plant-based? Should I go carnivore, which is all meat? Hey, Mary. Hey, Robin. Should I do intermittent fasting? Should I do a detox? Should I just be a fruitarian? Hey, Amanda. Hey, Jessica. Jason and I were in Costa Rica before Leah was born, and we went to a organic farm. It was really cool. And they had like a cabin, and it was kind of like semi outside, and you could hear the animals in the rainforest, and you could hear the rain, and it was very relaxing and very cool. Not kid friendly because the balcony had no railing, and a little kid, that would be bad because it was like on the top of a mountain. Hey, Eric. And it was raw. So we have tried lots of different diets, if you will, trying to on the quest for health. Hi, Cindy. And so we went to this it was raw, organic, vegan, right? So raw meaning not cooked, organic meaning grown with minimal or no chemicals, and then vegan, just plant-based, right? Nothing animal. And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to be healthy. We're going to eat there. So I think and the food was great. One day for dinner, we had like romaine lettuce wraps with like some kind of veggies and stuff. I was like, gassy. That's a lot of veggies. Hey, Shanae. And then the next day, like in the morning, they had some like fruit type of breakfast, which I don't really eat much fruit because the fruit in me, because of my previous sugar consumption, so I was known to wake up in the morning, have cookie dough for breakfast, or ice cream, have, I don't know, ice cream for lunch. When I was in elementary school, I'd buy the little 5-cent ice creams with a little wooden spoon and eat that because my mom would give me leftovers and I thought it was disgusting. And then I'd have a good dinner. My mom always cooked, so we'd have a good dinner. Every now and then she'd order like Kentucky Fried Chicken or pizza or whatever, but that was like very, very rare, and very rare did we go out to eat. Mostly she was cooking home. Uh-oh, you can't hear me? So Shanae, let me know, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? My Instagram is having issues. Amanda says you can hear me. Alyssa says I can hear you. Okay, Robin, everybody else says they can hear me, and I thought you could hear me earlier. Hi, Amanda. Merely can hear me. Hi, Merely. Merely came to visit us on Monday at the office, and we hadn't really seen her much because she's taking care of the cutest baby ever. And so she came to our staff meeting on Monday. It was really fun. Okay, Amanda can hear me. Teresa says loud and clear. Thank you, Teresa. Mary says I can hear you. Awesome. Amanda says yes. Good. And so anyway, so we went to this organic farm and we were eating vegan and raw. And I lasted probably like 3 days. And then the third day, they're like, do you want to go to town and see this and this? And I'm like, absolutely. And then I'm like, Jason, there's a restaurant there and they serve meat. And so I felt like guilty because, I lasted 3 days with vegan and raw. And then we went into town and we found this restaurant, and they had it was right on the coast in Costa Rica. And so they had like this freshly caught fish, which the chef prepared, and the way that restaurant prepared it, it was like cooked whole. So like the eyeballs were there. I didn't care. I demolished that fish. I was so in need of protein. Like my system was mad at me, so I think if you went vegan and you did some veggies and stuff, if your diet was crap, right? Like if you were eating like Doritos and Fritos and ho-hos and just like junk food all the time and you went to vegan, that would be a step up, right? But we had these canine teeth for a reason. I was joking with Dr. Dean at dinner today. I'm like, the Flintstones were carnivore. They went carnivore. And so it's really, really confusing on what the heck you eat, right? So the Flintstones, remember they put the big dinosaur steak on Fred's car, I guess, if you will, and the thing would tilt. And then I never in Flintstones, tell me, did you guys ever in Flintstones see them eating like fruits and vegetables? I never saw that. And I'm not saying Flintstones has like the right diet. Jessica says, I just ate a steak and sad Talia stole half of it. There you go. Talia knows what to eat. Hi, Carol. Hi, Emily. So what should you eat? What is the right food? What is the healthy food? What is the best food for you, right? And so I can tell you what the bad foods are, right? I can tell you what not to eat. I can tell you what most patients do well on, and I can tell you what most patients do horrible on. So I was on Whole Foods earlier today, and you guys might have seen my post, and sometimes I like to scroll and just see what they have, kind of like if I go to the grocery store. Part of what I like at the grocery store is just seeing what is out there, right? Just like exploring the aisles, not because I'm going to eat the stuff, but just because like I'm just curious. And so if you saw my earlier posts, there's salmon hot dogs. Salmon hot dogs. Okay, I like salmon, but it needs to be wild, because if it's not wild, then it's GMO. If it's farm raised, they're fed soy and they're fed colors, because when the salmon is not wild, it doesn't get its proper nutrition. So they give it colors. So then they take this GMO or colored salmon or soy salmon and they put it in a hot dog. Is it because they're not selling it? Like, why are we putting salmon hot dogs? Fish hot dogs? Does that even sound good to anybody? Like, who on the marketing team said, you know what, we're gonna sell some of this GMO fish, and I think we can get it done in a hot dog? Like, who said that? Whose idea was this? I think it's disgusting, right? And then I thought, well, they do make fish sticks, right? But those are fried. Those aren't good for you, right? And then I scrolled more and I found plant-based chicken. Plant-based chicken. How the hell can you grow a chicken as a plant? Like, I don't understand. Like, I am so curious how the Food and Drug Administration, oh wait, they're bought out. Oh yeah, I forgot that point. I'll probably get this one kicked off because I'm talking about them. But how do you approve the word chicken on a label when there's no chicken? Isn't that false advertising? Isn't that confusing the public? Isn't that not protecting the public? Like, come on. Plant-based chicken. I don't, it doesn't make sense. Like, Cindy, you raise chickens, right? So how do you have a plant chicken? Like, I don't understand. And so I was looking at this label. It was plant-based chicken, and I'm like, I don't. How do you have a plant-based burger? Like, okay, veggie burgers, I get that, but a plant-based chicken strips. And they almost look like dog chews, So like every now and then I'll get my dog dehydrated liver treats or dehydrated chicken treats or dehydrated heart. So by the way, dogs really, really love that because it's organ meats and meat, right? So he loves that stuff. And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, it looks like Rio's dehydrated chicken, but they're saying it's plant-based. And I was looking at the ingredients and it's soy. I'm like, there's way too many people that are consuming way too much soy. Soy is high in phyto means plant estrogens, right? And so Dr. Dean and I have been procrastinating on ordering living room furniture because the last time we went, they said, oh, well, don't worry, your furniture will be delivered in a year. And I'm like, what's the point, And I thought maybe the supply chain and whatever the delays are, whatever they want to make up, whatever happened to all those ships with the containers stuck on California coast, like what happened with that? No one knows. And so I thought, well, maybe if we wait, then all this stuff will get corrected and we can get our furniture faster. Long story short, we ended up getting furniture. It's coming in February. Yay! We can finally retire our 15-year-old couch, which Leah, by the way, was like, but mommy, it's fine. It doesn't have any holes in it and it's holding up well. And I'm like, kid, on one hand, you're absolutely right. So we call one store to see if there's a couch. Would you guys buy a couch, by the way, that you haven't sat in? And so we call this other furniture store out of our area. So we were in Winter Park. We were near Robin, and it didn't have this couch that we like. So we called the Tampa store. No, we called the West. We'll call it West Orlando for those of you that don't know Orlando. West Orlando, and the guy who answered sounded very, very like he had low testosterone and very high estrogen. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like between the COVID shots that are increasing rates of infertility, increasing rates of myocarditis. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of what happened in the NFL yesterday. And I'm very, very thankful that I'm not in professional sports anymore as a team chiropractor or a team athletic trainer or medical staff on a sideline, because last night was a nightmare with the NFL player that went down and they do CPR on. So if you're doing CPR and you stop the game, like that guy was not alive, right? Like it's just awful. And if he's brain dead, but then they have him on machines, he's basically not alive, right? Like, I don't know how to say this in a soft way. Like he is dead, like he dropped dead, and they're keeping him alive through machines. So, so between the myocarditis, the clots, the strokes, the infertility, the everything, and then now the food supply, right? Food is all soy. Like I don't see how people continue like this, right? And so then patients are like, what the heck do I eat? Should I have the plant-based chicken? Should I have the plant-based meat? Should I have are eggs good for me? Are eggs bad for me? Is butter good for me? Is butter bad for me? What are the other ones that people have? So Amanda says, I never understand why the vegan would want a chicken-like product. Yeah. So like if you believe meat is bad, and a lot of vegans that I talk to believe that it's inhumane to kill the animal. Okay, well, you killed the plant. Like plants are alive, right? Plants have frequencies. If you come near a plant with scissors, it changes the frequency. If you overwater a plant and you come near it and you measure the frequency, the plant's frequency changes. If you apply heat on the plant, the plant's frequency changes. So plants are alive too, right? So if you're worried about killing alive things, you are killing plants. So then you're vegan, and Amanda, I'm with you. You're vegan. You don't eat meat for whatever reason, but you want to eat fake meat. I don't understand. I don't get it. Yeah. So there's a lot of soy boys out there, which means my definition of soy boy is too much estrogen from eating soy, from plastics in our environment, from eating processed foods. Maybe mama's hormones were messed up when she delivered him. High estrogen, like no testosterone, none. Will that person ever populate? Will that person ever be able to reproduce? Will that person ever be able to have a family? No. The hormones are really out of whack. So, perhaps this is population control and feeding people all this plant-based stuff. Some of the sickest people I see are vegetarians. Sickest people. That's why it's on the paperwork. Are you vegetarian? Yes or no? And if they are, I have the conversation with them. Hey, if I have to give you a glandular, if I have to give you something that came out of an animal, if I would like you to start eating more meat, are you okay with that? Or is that a hard no? Like, is that like, no, never going to happen? Or is that a like, maybe I'll try eggs, or maybe I'll try this? So if they're like, maybe I'll try some stuff, I'll work with them. If they're like, I'll never eat meat and I'll never do this and I'll never do that, I'm like, well, would you take medication? They're like, well, yeah. I'm like, well, it has chemicals and metals. And if it's a vaccine, it could have abortal fetal tissue. And that's an interesting concept, right? So would a vegan take a vaccine if there was animal in it, right? So some of the vaccines can have animal in it. So would they inject animal because they had to kill the animal to put in the vaccine? I don't know. So these are all great concepts. So what do we eat? Like, answer the question, Dr. Palmer. What do we eat? The standard American diet, the SAD diet, is the food pyramid created by General Mills to sell what's at the bottom of the food pyramid is more carbohydrates. So when I was in high school, I was a soccer athlete. I was in sports medicine. I wanted to be healthy. I ran, I worked out, and I'm like, I'm going to eat healthy. And so I remember looking at the food pyramid and I'm like, do you guys remember what it says? 6 to 11 servings of grains. 6 to 11. Yeah, Jessica says, she says grains, 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 right? 6 to 11 servings of grains. Have you ever tried to eat 6 to 11 servings of grains? I tried in high school. So I was like, okay, in the morning, I'm going to have cereal. My dad always ate Cheerios. I hated Cheerios, by the way. Didn't like it. They got soggy. My mom would make it. Wasn't a morning person. I took forever to get ready. Realized back then I had parasites and my thyroid was trash, but that's why I was not a morning person. So she would pour me my bowl of cereal. I never ate it. I'm like, why do you even make this? I don't like it. And I'm nauseous in the morning, but I didn't really realize I was nauseous until I was not nauseous anymore. And I'm like, wow, every morning I was nauseous. So then I would try to have my cereal in the morning, my soggy Cheerios, because I wanted to be healthy. And then I would pack a sandwich because I have to get those other servings of bread in, and then have like an apple and some pretzels because those are healthy. But you couldn't have avocado back then because it was high in fat. Did anybody do that? Like pull avocado out of stuff because we thought fat was bad back then? So I'm talking about in the 90s. And then as a snack in my afternoon class, I would pack more pieces of bread because I got to get to 6 to 11, right? So I had my cereal, I had my sandwich, I had my piece of bread in the afternoon. So here I am. All I have is 3 servings of bread. Oh, my rolled golds, right? My pretzels. So now I have 4 servings of grains. I couldn't get to 6. And in that class, which I actually really liked, it was a health class. I'm like falling asleep because I'm on carb overload. And I'm like, how am I going to be healthy? Because the food pyramid says I have to have 6 to 11 servings of grains. And I'm 75% through my day and I've only had 4. Like, how do you do that, right? And so basically, if it's mainstream information, if it's coming from your cereal box, if it's coming from your TV set, if it's coming from a person who has studied in a traditional school, I don't want to say traditional, in a pharma-funded school, then you may not want to listen to that. Why? Because if you just observe, what does the American population look like? Are they fit and trim? So you look back at some of the movies, the older black and white movies, I didn't really see any obese people unless it was like a movie that had a circus and there was the fat lady, right? And the poor fat lady probably just had a thyroid and hormone imbalance. And if you fixed it, she wouldn't be the fat lady, right? But the rest of the population looked pretty good. Why? Well, they ate less grains. The sugar consumption was like way down. Like, now we have Americans consume 150 pounds of sugar a year. If you were to stack that up, it would be like a pyramid of sugar bags, right? So I think each sugar bag is like 3 pounds. So you guys can let me know. It's either 3 or 5 pounds. So it's like 30 or 50 bags of sugar. That's insane. That's insane. So what the heck do you eat? If it has a label on it, you probably don't want to eat it. If you can look at the packaging and be like, that's a piece of steak or that's an avocado, and you don't need a label that says avocado. It's an avocado or an orange or a piece of steak or a chicken leg, like a real chicken leg, not a plant-based chicken leg, then eat it. Right? So some people do more with red meat, better with red meat. Some people do better with like white meats, chickens and turkeys and stuff like that. And a lot of people do well in carnivore. I'll tell you, the least amount of processed foods in your diet, the better, right? So processed foods is your pizza night, your crackers, your pretzels, your sandwiches, your junk food. I'll tell you, over the year, I'm like, okay, well, I found this cool keto raisin bread, so I'll get that. Or we found the Capello's almond crust pizza, so we'll get that. And it can definitely go the wrong way when you cut all that out. So I just got groceries today. Our grocery bill with all the carby stuff is like $300. Our grocery bill without the carby stuffs is like half of that. And we're ordering grass-fed beef and that kind of stuff. So snacky stuff is not your friend. It increases your grocery bill and increases your waistline, right? So when you're like, what the heck do I eat? You eat foods that don't have a whole bunch of chemicals. You eat foods that you don't really need to have a label on it. You don't have to read the label. That's a piece of steak. You don't really need to read the label. That's a chicken leg. You don't need to read the label. That is broccoli, right? And then you combine a protein with a vegetable. Now, if you talk to Dr. Dean, he said, no, get rid of the vegetables. Why? Because the vegetables are sprayed with so many chemicals that the benefit of the vegetable is negated by the amount of chemicals in the vegetable. One of our friends, Dr. Darren Schmidt, he has a case in France, and she's a medical doctor. And she's super, super sick, couldn't get out of bed, worked with all these holistic practitioners, trying to eat healthy, trying to eat vegetables. And he's like, look, your levels of glyphosate are so high. All I want you to do is eat meat. And she's like, are you kidding me? Like, that was so outside her thinking. So she's like, I don't care. I'm like dying. So I'll do what you say. She improved so much faster because she stopped putting chemicals in her body. If you're eating organic, there's chemicals. If you're eating conventional, there's chemicals. The EWG prints the dirty dozen, right? So which fruits and vegetables have the most amount of chemicals in them? At the top of the list always is berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, strawberries. Anything with a permeable skin is going to absorb more pesticides. So then I have patients say, well, it's okay. I'll just wash them. Wash them? How are you going to wash the chemicals out of a strawberry? So if I take a strawberry, I don't have any strawberries back here. So let's pretend that this cool crystal bracelet, you guys can tell me what kind this is because I don't remember the stone. So let's pretend this is a strawberry, and you put it in a bucket of chemicals. Let's say it's, I don't know, bleach. Don't do this. This is a bad example. Do not do this at home. Do not try this. You will die. Okay. So you put it in bleach, you take it out, you rinse it in a vegetable wash or whatever, and you eat it. Will it still have chemicals in it? Would you eat a bleached strawberry? You guys would say absolutely not. So you could peel the skin, you could put it in a vegetable wash, you could do whatever, but if it's been sprayed with chemicals, the grapes, the berries, the strawberries, the whatever is going to absorb those chemicals. So does that mean you never eat strawberries again? No, that means you try to have organic strawberries. And just know that there is still some toxic load on it. That means if you eat fruit with thicker skin or vegetables with thicker skin, like say like an orange or citrus, you're going to have less chemical load because it's harder for those chemicals to get through that skin, right? When you look at vegetables like, I don't know, artichoke, you have a lot of leaves that you're dealing with. Do they have more chemicals? Do they have less chemicals? When you're looking at vegetables that grow in the ground or starches like potatoes that grow in the ground, you're going to have a higher chemical load. Why? They spray the fields. It's a root, it's a tuber. So it's going to absorb the chemicals and you're going to be eating higher chemicals. So this could get very overwhelming and very frustrating. So that's not my plan. My plan is eat simply, right? I don't have to tell you whatever you ate over the holidays. I don't have to tell you that you ate some junk. You already know that. I ate some. I showed my students earlier. I'm like, by the way, Merely, this is your fault, Merely. Merely gave this to me. And my favorite all time is chocolate peanut butter. So this is Lily's chocolate peanut butter. Is it better than Reese's peanut butter cups? Absolutely. It's way healthier than that. Holy smokes, this label got tiny. So the label is like an inch long. It's super tiny and really, really hard to read. But the last time I read it, it was, I can read it. Unsweetened chocolate, erythritol, chicory root, cocoa butter, sunflower lecithin, vanilla extract, stevia extract, peanut butter with peanuts, palm kernel oil, erythritol, peanut butter, chicory root, coconut oil, palm oil, salt, sunflower oil, lecithin, and stevia extract. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it better than Reese's peanut butter cups? Absolutely yes. Do I eat these all the time? No. I ate it because Marilyn was giving me a Christmas present and it tasted really freaking good. Okay, so Robin says, I wash my organic veggies and fruit with thieves. Good, Robin. But my whole point is if there is poison toxin sprayed on your vegetables, the veggie wash is not going to get that out of the inside of the strawberry, out of the inside of your grape, out of the inside of your zucchini, right? It's not going to do that. It is going to help with the residue of the wax, the chemicals, whatever on the outside, absolutely, but it's not going to get rid of the stuff on the inside. Jessica says we soak organic fruit in vinegar and water and pray it's actually helping. Yeah, it totally helps. And so if anything, vinegar is acetic acid. That's the technical name for vinegar. It's an acid. If you soak your fruit or vegetable or whatever in the acid, fingers crossed, it's going to kill parasites that are living either on top of it or in it. And that would be much better. So what do you do with all this? You do the best you can. Can you eat perfectly? No, you cannot eat perfectly. Because if I grow stuff in my garden, which I did in the spring, but then I didn't replant this winter, which I'm glad I didn't because it'd all be dead because Florida got really cold. Even then, I wouldn't spray my own garden. I wouldn't do it, right? But what else would happen? There's chemtrails in the air with chemicals. In our water, I have a well, but the well could have chemicals in it. My dog could be a butthead and dig them up. I had caterpillars. I had the most gorgeous Crenshaw melons, and caterpillars were eating my Crenshaw melons. So it's tough out there. Okay, so what can you do? What can you do? What is one thing that has snuck in that is not beneficial? Did your carb load get really high? Okay. Well, where's the carbs coming from? Did it come from bread? Did it come from crackers? Did it come from pasta? Did it come from tostones? So tostones is plantains that are smushed, but they're super high in carbs. Did it come from plantains, which is fried bananas? They taste amazing, but they've got like 80 grams of carbs in a small amount. Did it come from healthy pizza, right? Those tend to be, even the almond crust tend to be higher in carb. So where did all these carbs come from? And then what can you do to improve it? So Jason and I are like, hey, we've been getting the Capellos. We've been getting Simple Mills crackers. We've been getting Kato ice cream. Okay, I'm not ordering any of that. And Leah was like, what? And so he grilled up some, I think, bison burgers, and we ate that, and that was good. And I had my Cardio Miracle Shake right here. And I'll tell you, since I started drinking this, I have less inflammation in my body. My breasts were getting really swollen and irritated, and I couldn't figure out why. With that, I'm like, wow, they're coming back to normal size, whatever that is. And then my desire for caffeine has gone down. So this morning I was teaching in the mastermind, and I had 1 cup of coffee, and I took a couple sips, and then I realized that my cup is like 3/4 filled with coffee still. Wow. So that was really cool. Why? Because I've been drinking the Cardio Miracle, and that has pine bark in it to help with spike proteins coming off of people that got the experiment, and also helps with inflammation, also helps with production of nitric oxide to clear out blood vessels. And so at one point I felt like my heart cleared out, and I'm like, I didn't think my heart had anything going on with it, but I do know when I got shedded on really, really bad 2 years ago, my heart was racing, and I'm like, all I did was try to like get something out of the garden. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to fall in the garden. I better go back inside. I remember when I first got shedded on, I was trying to email our office manager at the time, like a sentence, and I thought I was going to pass out. And so I thought through all the nutrition, everything, that my heart was good. And then Cardio Miracle took it to the next level, which is good. It's a shake. And so, yeah, what do you eat? You do the best you can with what you can do. I have patients that are like, well, I don't know how to cook. So one of my patients is like, I don't know how to cook, so I just get Uber Eats. I'm like, nah, you know how to cook. Or I don't know what to do. I'm all by myself. So she was going to one of the local grocery stores, and she was buying rotisserie chicken. And then she was also buying, I don't know if you guys know the name giblets, but giblets to me are like the organs in a turkey. To me, that's what we call giblets. But she said giblets to her were like little pieces of rib or something, like cut rib. Maybe you guys know a different um, definition of giblets. And so she ate that and knew it wasn't the best choice and threw up all night. And so she thought she got food poisoning. So then she came in the office and they quantum tested her. And the quantum testing revealed a frequency that was similar to sporozoa parasites. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe your food poisoning was junky food that your body was getting rid of and parasites. She's like, I'm never eating that again. I'm like, okay, well, what can you eat? She's like, well, I live by myself. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, I lived by myself before when I was in college, or I had roommates, but we all kind of cooked our own stuff. And I said, well, I would buy some turkey breasts and I would cook one for myself and then maybe freeze the other. Or I would get the frozen vegetables and pour some of it enough serving size for one person and I'd have a meat and vegetables. So maybe it was chicken and green beans and then that was it. And then maybe the next night it was a little mini hamburger, bison burger with Brussels sprouts. And then maybe the next night it was, I don't know, chicken legs and asparagus, whatever it was, right? You don't have to overcomplicate stuff. Salt, sea salt, and butter go a long, long way in the seasoning department. You want to get a little bit more adventurous, you can try some of the Primal or Noble Patriot sauces. So they have a healthy ketchup, they have a healthy barbecue sauce, they have a healthy spicy sauce. They have a healthy steak sauce and barbecue sauce, so you can try that. Robin says, Jonathan said to eat less carbs because of the full moon. That's right, Jonathan. Jonathan, when is the full moon? Because my 2022 calendar's done, and my 2023 one's not on the wall here because I don't have one up in here or the office. But I saw the moon was getting real big. So, Jonathan, tell me when the full moon is. Sonia says, day 2 of eating low glycemic vegetables and meat like I did before I broke my ankle. I was able to function well without naps. Carbs are not my friend. Yeah, carbs are nobody's friend. Back when I first started my practice, I'm so embarrassed to tell you this, but I was running, right? I was busy. I was playing soccer. I was working with patients during the day. And then right after I was done with patients, I would go on the soccer field and work with semi-pro soccer players. And then all weekend I was working with them. And so like food was like kind of like an afterthought. So for lunch, a lot of times there's an Italian restaurant across the highway from us. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be healthy and have an Italian salad. And since I was such a good girl, pat myself on the back for my salad, the next part of my lunch was a calzone. Not healthy, carb central, like carb death, like probably like 200 grams. You guys can look up how many grams of carbs are in a calzone. So a calzone is like a pizza, but they enclose it with like dough. So it's like in Latin America, you might call it an empanada. Italian, it is meat and cheese and whatever goodness in pizza dough, right? Like carb central. And then Sonia, just like you're saying, I would want to like take a nap after that. I'm like, so sleepy. And then of course I wash it down with the sweetest tea ever. So Amanda says calzone is carb zone. Yeah, you are totally right. On Instagram, High Meadow says, are NPK fertilizers also used on organic produce dangerous? I do not know. So High Meadow Hippie Farmhouse, you probably know more than I do based on your name. I don't know what NPK fertilizers are. I will tell you that I had and maybe Carol knows. Carol, what's an NPK? So Carol has a farm in Iowa, which is so cool. So Carol, do you know what an NPK fertilizer is? Because I do not. So maybe non-phosphorus, I don't know, non-phosphorus potassium fertilizers. I don't know what that is. But I will tell you that I had a patient who sold organic fertilizer. And she's like, do you know what organic means? And I was like, yeah, organic means no chemicals. And she kind of like laughed at me. And I was like, what? And she goes, no. Organic doesn't mean no chemicals. Organic means less chemicals. I'm like, what? So there you go. Okay, so let's see. Amanda says butter and Himalayan salt is perfect. I agree. Now, do you get Cardio Miracle? How do you get Cardio Miracle? We have it. We're going to have it available in the office. And then there's a link to, now that we're talking about Cardio Miracle, you're probably getting an ad on your Facebook. Robin says in 3 days. Oh, the full moon's in 3 days on Friday. Thanks, Jonathan. That makes sense because it looks pretty full in the sky tonight. So those of you that are getting cravings, you might be getting cravings because the full moon's coming on Friday. And if you have parasites, you get more cravings for carbs. The flavor of Cardio Miracle is fruity, kind of like a tropical fruit. I like it. Carol says, replying to Carol, it is fruity. He likes it. Cool. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium ash. Cool. That makes sense on NPK. But does that have chemicals, Carol? Because I don't know. So nitrogen's found in the soil, phosphorus is found in the soil, and potassium ash. But how did they produce the ash? They burned the potassium, but how did they burn the potassium? And where are these minerals sourced? I don't know. I took 5 general chemistry classes, 3. Well, I took 2 real organic chemistry classes. I dropped 1, so 2.5, because organic chemistry was really difficult at University of Florida when I first took it because I did not understand the instructor. Biochemistry, 2 biochemistry, 2 organic chemistry, 4 or 5 general chemistry classes. And I thought it was stupid, even though my dad was a chemist at one point. I didn't see the purpose of chemistry. And I'm like, oh my gosh, chemistry is everywhere. Carol says it's potash, not potassium ash. Oh, well, what the heck is potash? Like you burn something in a pot? Come on, Carol. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Okay. Emily says, back in my hometown, we had a restaurant that made those, but it was donut crust and deep fried. We called it ponzeratas. I bet you that tasted freaking amazing. But yes, that's not good. So that brings up a really good point. The oils are really, really important. And so we've had cases where people are having cardiac issues, blockages in the arteries, strokes, that kind of thing, bypasses. And so if this is an artery, right? This is an artery and you're eating inflammatory oils like your canola oil, your vegetable oil, your soybean oil, what other really nasty ones? I don't use the nasty ones, so it's hard for me to think of. The corn oil, those are inflammatory oils. And so if you have your blood vessels, that inflames, right? That those create free radicals and inflame the blood vessels. So you can think of it like it should be a smooth blood vessel, the inside, it should be smooth. And when you have those harsh oils, they produce free radicals that damage the lining. And then it becomes kind of like rough, like sandpaper, and things stick to it. So the medical community wants to tell you it's cholesterol and cholesterol is bad and you should take a statin drug and you should lower your cholesterol. What they don't tell you is it's not the cholesterol that's bad. You need cholesterol for brain function. You need cholesterol for making your hormones. Brian Hobbs, why are you laughing at me? Brian, I don't know what potash is. What is... He can explain it to you, not my department. Well, Brian, explain to us what potash is. Like, I don't know your world. I don't laugh at you for healthcare stuff. Tell me what it is. So anyways, it's the inflammation in the blood vessels that causes the chest pain, that causes the heart attacks, that causes the blockages, that causes the death. And so if you're consuming cottonseed, that's another one. Cottonseed, palm oil, corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, those oils produce a lot of free radicals. So if you're having fried foods, if you're having restaurant food, if you're having deep fried foods, the reason why they're so bad is that it's fried in that bad oil. It produces the free radicals, damages the cardiovascular system, almost like sandpaper, and then that cholesterol sticks into that. So it's not the cholesterol that's the problem. It's the damage to the blood vessels that's the problem. Grapeseed oil, yeah. Okay, so let's see. Carol says dry fertilizer and helps grow Roundup corn. Okay, got it. Thank you, Brian, for explaining. Thank you, Carol. Jessica loves olive oil. I do too. Olive oil is best eaten not heated because it breaks down in the heat. Marianne says alkaline product to balance your well water in my case. Oh, potash balances well water. That is interesting. I did not know that, Marianne. Thank you for teaching me that. Very cool. All right, so hopefully that helps you guys on what the heck do you eat. So if if you don't need a label, that would be a good thing. If you have a protein that is coming from an animal, that would be a good choice. If it's not covered, smothered, and fried, that would be a good choice. Not covered, not smothered, and not fried would be a good choice. And if it has simple ingredients, that would be a good choice. And if I can help you at all on what foods work best for you with quantum nutrition testing, we can test, are these foods working out well for you? Or are these foods not working out well with you? And find the foods that help balance the body. We don't put you on a diet. We had a patient come in. He owns a local gym, and he was mad. He's like, I want you to tell me what to eat for breakfast and what to eat for lunch and what to eat for dinner. I'm like, we're not dietitians. Dietitians give meal plans, right? And our goal is to teach you so you know how to feed yourself and you know what foods work well for your body and you know what foods do not work well for your body. And if something is not working well in your body, call us. Call us at Palm Rancho Health. Right now, our January New Year, New You special is $135. So normally it is $250. But to help out our community, whether you are near or far, you saw what I did there, we can help you. $135. Yeah. So just message me on the chat or call the office at 407-682-8444. Don't wait. It's not going to get any better on its own. Okay, good. All right. I'll take a couple questions and then I'm out. Robin says, I'm the best at finding those foods. Thanks. It's a learning process. Yes, it is a learning process. Okay, awesome. Well, listen, I hope you guys have a very happy new year. I hope that I shared some data with you on what to eat, what foods are going to work for you, what foods are not going to work for you. You're welcome, Carol. You're welcome, Robin. Sonia said, my chiropractor gave me a list of anti-inflammatory foods. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. Yep. So basically, inflammatory foods, it depends on your definition because some of them have oxalates, some of them have this, some of them have that. But yeah, so there's many different options when it comes to food, but look at a protein from an animal and look at a vegetable from a plant that is low carbohydrate and not sprayed with lots of chemicals. All right. Thanks, everyone. Good night. Good night, Amanda. Good night, Alyssa. Bye, everyone. Take care.